There is a specific quiet moment that plays out whenever men gather, a moment thick with unacknowledged tension. It happens at the barbecue, the corporate event, or the poker night. The married men are talking about house renovations, school schedules, and the exquisite frustration of coordinating two separate lives into one functional system. They speak in the comfortable language of shared burden and compromise. And then, the single man walks in. He arrives late, often slightly unkempt in a way that suggests a weekend spent pursuing pure, personal impulse. He apologizes vaguely, mentions he just got back from doing something utterly self-indulgent, a spontaneous drive up the coast, an all-night project that consumed him, a dinner that morphed into a conversation that lasted until dawn with people who were once strangers. He has no stories of coordinating calendars, no complaints about mandatory social visits, no carefully edited accounts of a weekend spent managing someone else's expectations. The atmosphere shifts. The married men laugh louder, perhaps too loud. They clap the single man on the shoulder, offering shallow congratulations on his freedom, their voices tinged with a patronizing pity that is entirely false. Every one of them is watching him, not with disdain, and certainly not with the simple envy of a teenager watching an adult. It is a complex, acid-laced recognition, a secret pain of having seen a ghost of a life they themselves surrendered. It is the raw, visceral understanding that the man everyone pities still possesses the most terrifying and valuable human commodity: unbridled self-determination. The German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer observed the human drama with a scalpel-like cynicism. He viewed life as the agonizing expression of the will, a blind, restless, directionless force driving all desire and therefore all suffering. And Schopenhauer understood what nobody in polite society dares to admit. The institution of marriage is the ultimate, necessary suppression of that raw will. It is the civilized man's attempt to cage the infinite desire for novelty, autonomy, and self-focus, replacing it with the predictable, shared misery of domesticity, which society falsely elevates as happiness. The man we congratulate on his marital achievement might, in the deepest trenches of his psyche, be silently mourning the loss of the fierce, singular life that the single man, the man everyone worries about, still lives. Before we dive into the deep mechanisms of this secret envy, this acknowledgement of a fatal bargain, I need to know where this conversation is landing. I want to feel the full scope of this collective, often unspoken, male experience. So, right now tell me, in what city, what silent room, are you watching this analysis of the will and the compromise? Let your presence be known in the comments. We are about to dismantle the foundational lies that every married man tells himself to stay content. By the time we conclude this section, you will understand precisely why that subtle, agonizing envy runs deeper than fidelity or finance. You will understand why Schopenhauer believed that the attempt to conquer the will through permanent relationship leads inevitably to the specific, grinding suffering we call domestic peace. Maybe you are the married man, feeling something you've been trained to believe is a moral failure. Maybe you are the single man, feeling the societal pressure to surrender your priceless autonomy. You are about to discover why the pressure to commit is a function of civilization's need for predictability, not the individual's need for fulfillment. Consider the daily ritual that takes place in millions of homes and relationships. The negotiation. The married man cannot simply decide to read a specific book until 4 a.m, because the light might disturb his partner's sleep, or the loss of sleep might compromise his mood for the required shared activity the next day. He cannot decide on Tuesday to book a flight to another continent on Wednesday, simply because he needs a change of scenery. He cannot spend an entire paycheck on a vintage motorcycle he desperately wants without first preparing a defense brief, detailing the budget implications, and justifying the necessity of the purchase against competing domestic priorities often defined by someone else. The married man tells himself this process, this necessary negotiation, is simply love in action. He calls it compromise, partnership, teamwork. But what Schopenhauer knew, and what the married man dimly recognizes in the pit of his stomach, is that negotiation is the antithesis of the will's fundamental drive. The will demands unmediated action. It demands I want, therefore I do. Negotiation transforms action into reaction. It means every desire must pass through a bureaucratic filter. Does this serve the ecosystem? Is this approved by the committee? And the single man? His choices are direct. His will encounters reality without mediation. He bought that ridiculous motorcycle because the desire was strong enough. He stayed up until dawn because the creative impulse commanded it. He is driven by internal necessity, whereas the married man is driven by external consent. The single man lives a life defined by yes, if I choose. The married man lives a life defined by yes, if she agrees. The married man spends years perfecting the performance of contentment. He must, because the alternative is admitting that he traded the brutal, beautiful, self-defining clarity of his own will for the soft, suffocating stability of shared existence. Schopenhauer's philosophy revolves around the idea that suffering is the fundamental condition of existence, derived from the relentless and unmet demands of the will. We are driven by desires, and the moment a desire is met, the will simply replaces it with a new one, or worse, collapses into the profound, existential boredom of ennui. Marriage is society's elegant solution to ennui. It provides an endless supply of low-grade, manageable problems: the joint mortgage, the scheduling conflict, the in-laws, the constant maintenance of the shared ship, which distract the will from its own meaninglessness. The married man avoids the terror of pure, unstructured freedom by submitting to the gentle tyranny of shared responsibility. The single man, meanwhile, is still forced to confront the abyss. He has to generate his own structure, his own meaning, his own distractions. He might suffer the loneliness that society fears, but he avoids the specific, unagonizing suffering of the married man. The suffering that arises from constantly compromising his own desires for the sake of artificial peace. When the married man sees the single man taking a leap, changing a career, moving across the country, dedicating himself entirely to a quixotic, low-paying passion project, he feels that pang. That is not envy of the bachelor party lifestyle. It is envy of the risk capacity. The married man has foreclosed on risk. He cannot fail spectacularly in pursuit of a massive dream, because his failure is no longer his own. It threatens the mortgage, the health insurance, the delicate stability of the entire ecosystem. He became a safe bet, a reliable cog, a responsible provider. This responsibility is noble, yes, but it is also the death of the singular, transformative self. The single man can still pursue what Schopenhauer would recognize as the raw expression of the will, the monumental, self-defining project. He can be selfish in the way that all genius and creation require, pouring undivided time, money, and emotional energy into something that satisfies only him with zero accountability to a second party. The married man must submit his obsessions to the committee of two. If his singular, all-consuming passion doesn't serve the partnership, it is quietly pathologized or negotiated down to a manageable, non-disruptive hobby. He trades the potential for transcendence for the guarantee of stability. And when he sees the single man still climbing that precarious, high-risk, high-reward mountain of self-creation, he feels the cold emptiness where his own raw ambition used to reside. This is the central paradox. We pursue marriage to find ultimate security and connection, believing it will alleviate the suffering of solitude. But what we find instead is a specialized, institutionalized form of suffering, the constant, grinding pain of self-denial. The married man remembers the exact moment the decision was made, not the proposal, but the silent, internal decision to stop fighting the societal narrative. He folded. He surrendered to the script that proclaimed happiness requires two. The single man, especially the man who remains single well past the customary age, is a profound threat because he represents the evidence that the script is optional. He has endured the relentless inquiries, the implied pity, the societal judgment that insists, something must be wrong with him. He resisted the temptation to settle for compliance. That resistance requires a spiritual strength that the married man knows he lacked. He took the easier path, the socially acceptable path. He chose the cage with the most beautiful decorations. And the single man, the divorced man especially, has experienced the failure of the institution and chosen not to re-engage with the mechanism of self-suppression. The divorced friend, now standing alone, free of the financial and emotional chains of the shared ecosystem, represents not a failure of love, but a successful, painful reassertion of the will. He has paid the steep price of separation, and in doing so, he has purchased back his ultimate asset, his sovereignty. This is why the envy is so complicated. The married man envies the divorced man not for what he gets, but for what he regained. He regained the right to radical self-ownership. He regained the terrifying yet exhilarating blank slate of the future. He regained the right to be the sole author of his suffering and his joy. The married man knows, with a dreadful certainty, that his own future is largely mapped out. He knows the next decade will involve the same core arguments, the same necessary compromises, the same predictable domestic loop. His life is defined by iteration, not innovation. The single man's future remains genuinely unknown. His next week could involve a complete transformative pivot. This uncertainty, this chaotic potential, is what the domesticated self most yearns for, because it represents the fundamental nature of the unrestrained will. Change, becoming, movement. The married man traded the possibility of everything for the certainty of something manageable, and late at night, in the quiet of his comfortable prison, he wonders if the price was too high. He wonders if the will he suppressed is still screaming for release. This envy is not a moral failing. It is a philosophical inevitability. It is the will recognizing its own captivity and crying out for the freedom it remembers. We are only just scratching the surface of this hidden conflict. The next steps will reveal the brutal sexual realities, the crisis of legacy, and the true cost of identity death that Schopenhauer believed was essential for domestic tranquility. I want you to join the ranks of the few men and women who possess the courage to speak this uncomfortable truth into existence. And stop pretending that your life is exactly what you wanted it to be. Stop romanticizing compromise. Right now, I want you to drop a single, powerful phrase in the comments, one that articulates the silent recognition of this compromise. Write this phrase in the comments. The performance is exhausting. This isn't just a comment. This is a declaration of independence, and the commitment to honesty is the first step out of the cage. Hit the like button with the force of a truth finally acknowledged. This message is critical. Liking it ensures that every other man lying awake tonight, wrestling with this same shadow, finds the language to understand his pain. And if you are ready to dismantle the rest of the lies, or to confront the most difficult truth of the male condition, the one that society has suppressed for centuries because it threatens the very fabric of civilized order, then you must subscribe immediately. We are preparing to drop a perspective that will either liberate you completely or disturb you permanently. It is the forbidden truth about human nature, a bomb hidden in the archives of philosophy. You do not want to be asleep when it detonates. Stay free, stay honest, stay awake. There is a specific kind of midnight silence that descends upon a marital home, a silence far heavier than the noise it replaces. It is not the silence of rest. It is the silence of finality. It is in this profound, suffocating quiet that the married man often conducts a secret, terrible audit of his life. He is not calculating debts or assets. He is counting the ghosts of opportunities he voluntarily executed. The single man, meanwhile, is likely generating noise somewhere. It might be the sound of his own thoughts amplified by solitude, the rattle of keys at 3 a.m. after a spontaneous decision, or the low hum of a creative project that answers only to him. And in that contrast, the suffocating quiet versus the constructive noise, lies the engine of the married man's most corrosive, unspoken envy. He knows deep down that the quiet he possesses is the sound of possibility having been systematically eliminated. We are diving now into the specifics of this erosion, the precise mechanisms by which autonomy is traded for the illusion of stability. But first, since these truths often feel lonely and localized, And since the depth of this realization depends entirely on where you stand in this chaotic world, tell us the city you are watching this from right now. Name the exact location where this recognition, this sudden jolt of uncomfortable truth, found you. The philosophical framework of Envies suggests that life is fundamentally defined by the will to power, the desire to expand, to overcome, to become more. Marriage, as an institution, inherently demands the opposite. The will to censor, the will to contain, the will to shrink the sphere of individual power for the benefit of the shared unit. This is not a moral failing. It is a structural necessity of domesticity. The married man, often unconsciously, consents to becoming an administrator of his life rather than its sovereign creator. Consider the energy drain of the perpetually divided focus. The single man's attention is a laser beam, directed entirely toward his own growth, his projects, his chosen battles. He wakes up and his primary cognitive load is self-directed. The married man wakes up and his consciousness is immediately split. It is divided between his internal agenda and the comprehensive, unrelenting demands of the shared ecosystem. He is calculating her mood, the children's schedules, the impending domestic crises, the unspoken financial pressures, the social maintenance required by the in-laws, and the complex negotiation of every single piece of calendar real estate. His mind operates like a vast, congested switchboard. The single man is the quiet, high-speed fiber optic connection. The difference in operational efficiency, in the raw, on the aggressive pursuit of personal excellence, is vast, immediate, and tragic. The single man retains the fundamental right to existential experimentation. He can commit to a radical change of environment, a sudden career pivot that pays nothing for 6 months, a monastic commitment to a difficult intellectual project, or even a deep spiritual descent into the unknown, all without consequence to anyone but himself. His life remains raw material, infinitely pliable. The married man cannot touch this raw material. His existence is set in concrete, dried and scored with shared expectations. Any impulse toward radical personal change, the desire to quit the stable job and start the novel, to sell the house and travel the world, to take a risk that jeopardizes the mortgage, is met not with curiosity, but with fear. And this fear is justified, nay, because he is no longer just risking his own comfort. He is risking the stability of others who depend on his constraint. He traded the terrifying possibility of spectacular failure for the crushing certainty of comfortable mediocrity. And he did so because society, and the institution he entered, demanded that he tame his dangerous edges. The envy, therefore, is not directed at the single man's temporary pleasures or transient relationships. It is directed at the preservation of his dangerousness. It is directed at the fact that the single man is still capable of generating the kind of personal chaos necessary for a dancing star to be born. The married man, conversely, is forced to maintain the temperature of perpetual stability. His life is a well-managed, climate-controlled environment, ideal for survival, utterly hostile to creation. Z despised the lie of comfort as achievement. He knew that true human power lay in overcoming struggle, not in eliminating it. The married man often confuses the successful elimination of domestic struggle, the smooth-running household, the financial stability, with the achievement of a meaningful life. The single man, particularly the single man committed to an unconventional path, lives closer to the truth. That meaning is forged in the fire of genuine struggle, often alone, often misunderstood. The married man sees this struggle in his unattached friend, the freedom to fail spectacularly and learn profoundly, and recognizes that he has traded true learning for relentless maintenance. Consider the burden of the unapproved narrative. The single man's story arc is determined solely by the choices he makes, the demons he fights, and the victories he claims. His failures are personal lessons, not family emergencies. He is the author, the editor, and the sole critic of his biography. The married man's narrative is subject to constant review by the co-author. Every chapter must be negotiated. Every twist and turn must pass through the domestic committee, vetted for practicality and safety. This perpetual negotiation slowly starves the ambition that doesn't fit the shared script. The deepest source of envy flows from the theft of mental space. Single existence provides an uninvaded mental territory. The married man lives in a state of perpetual psychological cohabitation. The needs, anxieties, past traumas, and emotional demands of the partner permanently occupy a significant portion of the married man's bandwidth. Even in moments of physical solitude, the drive home, the shower, the hour before sleep, the space is not truly his. The mental preparation for the next interaction, the preemptive stress management, the processing of shared problems, all consume resources that the single man can devote entirely to internal reflection, problem solving, or, most crucially, the deep, uninterrupted thought necessary for true innovation or creation. This invasion is perhaps the most insidious aspect of the surrender, because it is invisible. You cannot measure the loss of unburdened contemplation, but Enzi understood that it is precisely in that unburdened state that the most powerful ideas are born. The married man traded the possibility of profound, solitary insight for the comfortable, continuous hum of domestic dialogue. And when he sees the single friend, lost in thought, detached from obligation, pursuing an idea with monomaniacal focus, he is envying the quality of the silence he has lost. The silence that permits genuine genius. The married man learns to perform calculated selfishness. He must convince himself and others that the compromises he makes are not sacrifices of self, but enlightened acts of love. He must rationalize the death of his radical desires by labeling them immature or irresponsible. This requires a constant internal performance, a lie repeated so frequently that it becomes identity. The single man, by contrast, possesses the terrifying luxury of uncalculated selfishness. He can pursue his own interests with unadulterated zeal, knowing that this focus is often the prerequisite for true personal growth and impact. He doesn't need to justify his egoism, he merely lives it. Furthermore, the envy taps into the married man's relationship with time. In marriage, time becomes a resource to be allocated, scheduled, and divided. It is accounted for, often down to the minute, by domestic necessity. Weekends are not open voids of possibility. They are meticulously pre-booked slots for chores, social obligations, and mandated quality time. The single man's time is sovereign. It is wild, untamed, and potentially wasteful, which is precisely its value. Wastefulness, in the context of radical freedom, is the potential for profound, spontaneous discovery. The married man sees his years ahead as a calendar already half filled with known, predictable demands. The single man sees his years as an empty scroll. This sense of predetermined destiny is the deep psychological anchor of the envy. Enzi's concept of the eternal recurrence, the horror of having to repeat the exact same life infinitely, becomes a daily, low-grade terror for the married man. He knows the next 20 years will primarily consist of the careful management of his current circumstances. The single man, especially one who embraces uncertainty, stands outside this loop. His life is still subject to genuine transformation, capable of the kind of self-overcoming that the married man has placed under permanent domestic arrest. He lives with the knowledge that he is already on the plateau. The single man is still climbing. The married man sees his former self reflected in the single friend. The self that existed before the great surrender. The self that believed it could have love and uncompromised freedom. That former self is now a phantom limb, a persistent ache of something lost forever. And the married man's only defense against the pain of that loss is to insist, loudly and perpetually, that the phantom limb never existed, or that its removal was a necessary, even glorious, surgical intervention. But the single man, by merely existing authentically outside the consensus, shatters that illusion daily. He is the living proof that the surgery was elective, not mandatory, and that the supposed maturity gained was merely institutional conformity. The final, and devastating point of envy is the single man's refusal to participate in the necessary hypocrisy of modern life. Society promotes stability and predictability, but the soul craves intensity and experience. Marriage promises stability at the cost of intensity. The married man buys into this bargain, then spends his nights consuming media, fantasy, and performance that is entirely predicated on the intensity he had to sacrifice. Adventure, conflict, pure passion, sexual novelty. He is forced to live an internally contradictory existence, publicly committed to the tame, privately obsessed with the wild. The single man lives the wild life, or at least retains the immediate capacity to engage with it. Without the moral schism, he is whole where the married man is psychologically fractured. The single man does not have to apologize for his existence. He does not have to justify his choices to a co-owner of his life. He simply is. And the quiet, relentless performance required of the married man, the performance of contentment, the performance of sacrifice, the performance of the good life, is what makes him lie awake, gazing at the ceiling, wondering when he will finally be able to drop the mask. We have only scratched the surface of this envy, which runs deeper than companionship or sexual novelty. It is an envy of the intact self, the uncompromised spirit, the life that answers to no master but its own fierce will. The truth of this observation is not meant to destroy your world, but to give you the language to understand the ache in your chest. It is time to choose your truth. If the profound resignation of the married life, the trade-off of your highest potential for domestic security, resonates with an unsettling clarity, I want you to make a choice right now. The strongest move you can make is to acknowledge the bargain you see. It solidifies your focus. It cuts through the societal noise that demands your silence. This is not a confession. It is an affirmation of your conscious awareness. Comment now and write this exact phrase: I see the price. That declaration is the first step toward reclaiming the fragments of your unconstrained self. Do not wait for permission to be honest. You are a man who dares to look where others flinch. Join the few who understand the cost of conformity. Subscribe immediately to this channel, affirming your place among those who value brutal honesty over convenient delusion. Hit the like button because that action is a necessary sign of support, ensuring this disruptive truth breaks through the manufactured comfort that society uses to keep us asleep. Your engagement is the proof that the fire of autonomy still burns. And here is the certainty of what comes next. In the final part, we will detonate the last comfortable assumptions you hold about marriage, revealing the shocking conclusion that both Schopenhauer and Envies understood about the ultimate purpose of this institution. A purpose far colder and more utilitarian than the romance we are fed. It is the truth about what happens when the cage door is finally opened and whether the man inside is still capable of walking free. That is the final truth. And you must be here when it drops. Do not miss the moment of true clarity that is coming. Stay awake. Stay honest. There is a moment of profound silence that happens not in the quiet of the night, but in the overwhelming noise of modern life. It occurs when a man is surrounded by the proof of his success, the nice house, the full garage, the family photos. And yet, in that instant of reflection, he registers a deep, unsettling absence. He looks at the monument he has built, and suddenly he doesn't see a home. He sees a boundary. He sees the walls of a beautiful prison, built meticulously by his own hands, and sealed with the contract of commitment. This is the final stage of realization, the climax of the envy that we have been tracing through the lens of profound philosophical skepticism. It is the moment when the married man stops justifying and starts mourning. The man everyone calls stable, the one who has done everything right according to the social script, has a shadow. This shadow is not malicious. It is simply the unlived life, the version of him that did not trade possibility for certainty. And when he encounters the single man, the divorced friend, who is navigating the world with the unburdened gait of an explorer, that shadow surges forward. It whispers not of sexual escapades or wild parties, but of intellectual sovereignty, of time that bends only to his will, and of a creative energy that has not been dispersed across the thousand small duties of domesticity. This whisper is the voice of the self he abandoned, and it is here, in this final confrontation with that ghost, that the true, painful depth of the envy is revealed. We are about to conclude this exploration by descending into the most dangerous truths, the ones men hide even from themselves. We are going to look at the ultimate price of security and the terrifying, unavoidable cost of freedom. Before we dive into this final analysis of why this secret envy is not just common, but a predictable philosophical outcome of the institution itself, tell me right now, where are you watching this from? What city is bearing witness to this uncomfortable truth? We must anchor ourselves in reality, because the realization we are about to discuss is designed to shake the foundations of the reality you have constructed. The married man lives in a constant state of negotiation. Every desire, every impulse, every whim is subject to review by the committee of two. His existence is an ongoing budget meeting, not just of finances, but of emotional and temporal resources. He is not free to pursue a sudden obsession with learning a difficult skill, because that time must be allocated to shared activities. He cannot simply move across the country for a career advancement that thrills him, because the disruption to the collective ecosystem is too great. He cannot spend months in solitude wrestling with a grand creative project, because his absence constitutes neglect. Nietzsche understood that the highest forms of human creativity require a profound selfishness, a total disregard for the convenience and comfort of others. The genius must be mercilessly dedicated to his own becoming, and marriage is the ultimate, organized resistance to that kind of selfish dedication. It demands that one's highest devotion be paid not to the self, not to truth, and not to creation, but to maintenance. The married man looks at his single friend, the artist, the entrepreneur, the relentless seeker, and sees a man who can still prioritize his genius above all else. He sees a man who has not yet split his soul into the I that creates and the we that maintains. And this realization stings with the acid of regret. He understands that he voluntarily sterilized his own potential for greatness in exchange for domestic peace. The single man retains what the married man has permanently forfeited, the option of the grand pivot. The single man can wake up tomorrow and decide to sell everything, move to a foreign land, and begin a new life completely unburdened by history, obligation, or shared identity. He holds the infinite, as terrifying power of the blank slate. The married man, conversely, is tethered to the history they have created. His identity is braided into the infrastructure of his commitment, the mortgage, the shared circle, the routine. To pivot now would not be a mere choice. It would be an act of systemic demolition, causing immense pain and financial ruin to others. He is immobilized not by lack of will, but by the weight of responsibility he agreed to carry. This immobility is the foundation of his envy. He misses the lightness of being, the exhilarating terror of the unknown path. He has certainty, but certainty is the end of adventure. We must acknowledge the profound psychological cost of this exchange. The married man is constantly managing the gulf between the reality he lives and the reality he craves. He develops a sophisticated internal defense mechanism, a performance of contentment designed to protect the integrity of his choice. He must continually assert that his compromise was a form of elevated achievement, that his loss of freedom was merely the shedding of childish impulse. This constant internal marketing campaign consumes vast amounts of psychic energy. He becomes an actor in his own life, forced to smile through the in-law dinners he despises and feign interest in the domestic logistics that bore him. The single man, by contrast, possesses a radical authenticity. He answers only to his own boredom, his own curiosity, his own hunger. He does not need to perform satisfaction because his life is his unedited truth. When the married man witnesses this unfiltered existence, the performance he himself maintains becomes momentarily unbearable. He recognizes the energy he expends simply to keep the illusion of happy conformity alive. The single man's freedom is not just external, the ability to travel or spend money. It is internal, the freedom from the requirement to lie about what he wants, what he feels, or who he truly is. Nietzsche famously said, "What does not kill me makes me stronger." The married man survived the domestication process, but the lingering question is, did it make him stronger or merely heavier? Did it temper his will or simply redirect it toward lower aims? The single man embraces the friction of life alone, the loneliness, the uncertainty, the relentless pressure to define himself without external validation. He faces existence raw and unmediated. That struggle, that existential friction, is what creates hardness, clarity, and true self-reliance. The married man insulated himself from that friction. He gained a partner who softens the edges of existence, who provides comfort and collective defense against the harsh world. But comfort, as Nietzsche warns, is the greatest enemy of greatness. The married man, in his comfortable cage, sees the single man sharpening himself against the stone of isolation, becoming harder, clearer, and more self-sufficient. The envy is complex. It is the desire for the strength that only uncompromised struggle can deliver, a strength he realizes he traded for a shared blanket of security. Consider the concept of responsibility itself. The married man's responsibilities are multiplied and often opaque. He is responsible for his wife's emotional stability, his children's well-being, the maintenance of 2 families, and the collective financial trajectory. These responsibilities are often diffuse and distracting, pulling his focus away from his own singular purpose. The single man's responsibilities, while heavy, are sharply defined. They belong only to him. He can concentrate his energy like a laser beam. The married man feels his energy constantly siphoned off, dissipated across a spectrum of duties that are merely necessary, never fulfilling. He envies the single man's ability to focus the entirety of his will to power into the construction of his own life's meaning. The final, devastating realization that underpins this envy is the loss of the future. The single man's future is an open expanse, a landscape of unlimited possibility. He is actively creating it, day by day, moment by moment. The married man's future is largely predetermined by the commitments he made years ago. The path is set. The milestones are known. There is security in this, yes, but there is also a quiet despair. He knows where he will be in 5 years, in 10, in 20, because the institution of marriage demands predictability. When the married man sees his single friend, he sees the living embodiment of the alternative ending. He sees the road he chose not to take, the self he refused to become. And this envy is not just a passing thought. It is a profound philosophical indictment of his own life's trajectory. It is the recognition that, in choosing stability and acceptance, he fundamentally chose to stop becoming. He chose the role over the potential. He chose the settled past over the uncertain, dangerous future. This realization is explosive. It is the understanding that the most beautiful love can still be the single greatest constraint on the individual will. The institution that promised him completion instead delivered definition. And definition, for the soul that craves transcendence, is merely a sophisticated cage. This is the hidden truth that runs beneath the veneer of contentment at every gathering, every barbecue, every shared social event. This is why the married man's eyes linger on the unbothered single figure in the corner. He is looking at the man he once was, the path he abandoned, and the life he forfeited for the sake of conforming to the civilizational script. He is looking at freedom itself, terrifying and magnificent, and he knows, deep down, that he settled for something less. He knows that his life is good, but that it is no longer entirely his own. This truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. It demands an admission, a moment of raw, unvarnished honesty that cuts through the performance of contented stability. The deepest lie is the one we tell ourselves to maintain the peace. Breaking that silence is the first step toward reclaiming your sovereignty, even within the confines you have accepted. Right now, tell me the single most powerful sentence that encapsulates this realization. Write it in the comments below, right now, as a declaration of your clarity. Use the phrase, "I prioritized comfort over my own becoming." That phrase carries the weight of 1,000 silent regrets, and speaking it aloud, even in the anonymity of a comment, shatters the internal lie. You have faced a difficult, uncomfortable truth, and that strength must be rewarded. Subscribe to this channel immediately. We exist to provide the dangerous ideas and the forbidden perspectives that the comfortable world rejects. Your engagement fuels the fire, ensuring that this message, this antidote to cultural sleep, reaches every man who is lying to himself in the quiet of his own home. Hit the like button now. Do it not for me, but for the clarity you have just gained, solidifying your place among those who refuse to remain asleep. And now, prepare yourself for what comes next. The next discussion we enter is a profound deconstruction of the most sacred pillar of modern morality. It is a philosophy so ruthless, so utterly devoid of sentimentality, that it will challenge the core assumptions you hold about right and wrong, good and evil. It is a truth bomb that philosophy has kept buried for centuries because it exposes the weakness at the heart of human collaboration. This is not content you can afford to miss. Missing it means returning to the comfortable lie. Stay honest, stay awake, and never forget that the greatest cage is the one you stop trying to escape.